the All Things Good podcast. I'm your coach and your host, Giovanna Cirillo. Welcome back, y'all. Today we are going to be talking to Rebel. She is a Colombian conscious poet. She is an art curator, a host, and a Reiki master. She is passionate about bringing about change and transformation into her community through her culture, through her art, through her speaking, through her wisdom. And she's going to bless us today with some information on the divine feminine. What is divine feminine? I know you're probably like, oh, it's some spiritual woo-woo thing. No, it's actually something that is within every human being. And today she's gonna teach us. She's gonna give us some wisdom on just that. So help me by welcoming Rebel. Welcome, Rebel. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you doing, Giovanna?
I am great. I'm so excited to finally have you on this podcast. I know it feels like I've been bothering you a little bit, but I feel
No,
like there's so much information that you can share with my listeners. And I'm just like, this is going to be an amazing topic.
absolutely. I'm excited to be here. I can't wait, to get into it. We're going to have a really dope conversation today. So it's going to be amazing. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. No problem. Thank you for coming. So, I've been learning a little bit more about the divine feminine or just becoming more feminine. For me, I grew up in a masculine household with my mother. She was the hustler. She was the go-getter. She had to do everything, right? And lately, I'm just like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the one that's constantly hustling, the one that's constantly striving and trying to figure it out. I want to be in my soft era. There's this new thing, the soft era, right? So would you
Mhm.
say that the divine feminine is equivalent to the soft era?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like the divine feminine is tapping into that softer, more nurturing, more just divine energy. Not to say that masculine energy is not divine, but feminine energy is just softer, more in tune, just really pays attention to what it requires to be soft and to be, come from a place of love mainly.
Okay, so explain to our listeners what exactly is the divine feminine.
Absolutely, absolutely. So innate within us, we have both masculine and feminine energy. That's just innate, regardless of your orientation, regardless of your sexuality. This is a innate duality that exists within every human being and everything in nature, everything in the cosmos, everything in general. So I guess in short, to say that the divine feminine is just a manifestation of feminine energy in the universe. And it's a sacred power source that is both integral to us, to nature, to the cosmos, like I was saying, as well as just innate. The divine feminine is something that everyone, regardless of their gender or identity, like I was saying, can connect to. And when the masculine and the feminine energies are aligned and balanced, then beautiful things happen. But when those energies are not aligned and there is let's say a greater proportion of masculine energy, which is kind of what we're seeing in the world right now, versus feminine energy, that's when chaos comes about, war, and we just can't seem to find our grounding. So divine feminine energy is within all of us and everything around us.
Okay. So where did this concept actually come from? Because I'm new to it. Like, I obviously know that we always have the masculine and the feminine, right? But I feel like I'm hearing it more. Is it something that just came up out of nowhere, or is it something that, was there a theory based on this?
Yeah, so believe it or not, back in ancient cultures, women were the leaders. Women were the priestesses. Women were the ones, the oracles, where, that's what society looked up to and revered as sacred, as knowledgeable, as, the leaders. So it actually derives from that idea that the feminine has been around for thousands of years, and its roots and cultures and traditions, including in Hinduism, where we see, like, for instance, the goddess Shiva and Shakti, which is an excellent representation of that divine feminine and masculine, because if you've ever seen it depicted, it's depicted as half man, right, Shiva, and then the half female left side, which is Shakti. So when those two forces, those two energies align and are balanced, it's just such a powerful force. We really tune into the divinity of God when that happens. So These societies were structured and operated around goddesses and religions of the goddess. And they were ruled by collective priestesses, so women that were priests. Unfortunately, due to the patriarchy and patriarchal societies coming about, then as they gained power, the divine feminine was suppressed, and eventually it lost the central role in spiritual, in society, in religious practice. So basically, it stems from the fact that women, even the divine, is a woman. Women were always revered as the oracles, the goddesses, the priestesses, the leaders. So that's where it stems from.
That's so interesting because, thinking about like my studies on religion, a lot of the religions don't implement the woman. They actually take feminine out of it.
Yes.
And, we always, like me coming from a Christian background, we always question, well, where are the women? Why are women being noticed in the gospel? Why are women being noticed, or why are women being leaders? Why are we being despised? Why are we being shamed? And now that you're talking about this, it's like it makes sense because women do bring a balance. There has to be balance. The world has to have some type of balance. There's no way that there's always just one way, right? There's a leveling that we need to have. So I find that interesting that you're saying that, because some religions don't actually acknowledge the feminine part of things.
Right. And ultimately, what I believe is that it stemmed from fear, because women, have been, for having intuition, powers of intuition, powers of healing, have been revered in the past as witches, so it stems from a place of fear, where, you have to suppress this because it doesn't align with the colonial and patriarchal beliefs that, men are the ones that should be in charge versus women, where honestly it should just be a balance. Like you said, it needs to be a balance for it to work properly. So that's why, like I said, we see so much chaos in the world right now, so much rage, so much war, is because there's an imbalance of the energies, the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies. So
okay, so you stated that everyone is a divine feminine, every woman is a divine feminine, but how do you know that someone is actually operating in that femininity, in that divinity?
So anybody can tap into the divine feminine energy. It is within us. And yes, any woman can be a divine feminine. It's just a matter of tapping into that energy, and aligning with that energy, versus, like what you said, the programming that in the world that we live in, we're so programmed and conditioned to go and run and act and move, and we hardly ever have a moment to pause, to go inward, to reflect and connect. So the main thing, I believe, in order to tap into that divine feminine energy is connecting with yourself, whether you are male, whether you are female, whatever, however you identify, you can tap into that nurturing, soft, loving energy that is divine feminine energy. So anybody is able to do that. Absolutely.
Okay, so what exactly does that look like though? So how does that look like in a woman, and what does that look like in a man?
So tapping into divine feminine energy is tapping into the softer, more intuitive side of who we are as human beings, right? Our divine connection with the divine, tapping into that, um, um, for example, a divine feminine is basically in touch with her magic, with her mesmerizing just presence. She honors and desires and acknowledges the right to manifest who she is fully. Doesn't hide behind expectations. You know doesn't align with things that do not align with her. So it's about being very honest and vulnerable and tapping into your true essence. The divine feminine, values herself. She's aware of her worth, and she upholds boundaries that protect her worth and her value. So basically, the divine feminine energy allows a woman to be in tune with her intuition, and it allows her to be guided by her intuition in her daily life. That's the main aspect of it, is being aligned with your intuition and tapping into the intuition.
Awesome. And what about for a male? What does that look like for a man?
Same thing for a man, the divine masculine can also be nurturing and can also be, very intuitive. To align it, it's more so a matter of manifesting from these two energies. So when you're manifesting from the masculine energy, there's a lot of just go and force and a lot of just drive, and results need to happen. The divine feminine aligns more so with her intuition, the vibration of the things that she is trying to bring into her life or manifest around her. So, honestly, for a man to tap into his divine feminine energy is a beautiful thing to actually watch, especially when it's the balance of both the masculine and the feminine, but definitely uh tapping more into the nurturing side. And not to say that the masculine isn't nurturing, it is nurturing, but there's just an aspect of the divine feminine nurturing that is softer, that is more open, just heart, leads from the heart. And those are the things that men can also tap into, to elevate their own connection with the divine. So it's a matter of balancing those two energies, more than anything. But if you feel like there's an imbalance and there's more masculine than feminine energy within yourself, then it's about tapping into yourself, going inward and connecting with the divine.
So would you say for a male, would it be more like being more tapped into your emotions?
Yes, I think, I like to tread softly around that type of stuff, but in essence, yes, because there are a lot of men that are very in tune with their emotions, and open to emotion and heart centered. So it's just a matter of more so aligning with those energies and balancing them so that you are able to flow effortlessly between masculine and feminine energy, depending the situation, depending what needs to happen in that moment. Because there are moments where we need to absolutely tap into that masculine energy and drive and go and move and make things happen. But there
Right.
are moments that type of energy is not going to work. So we have to
Mhm.
tap into the softer manifesting energy that is a divine feminine energy, if that
Um,
makes sense.
yeah, definitely. That definitely makes sense. And also, so when you were talking, I'm thinking like, okay, so would healing play a major role in tapping into these things? I'm
Absolutely.
assuming that you would have to, because you said you have to be in tune with yourself. A lot of us are not really in tune with ourselves because we don't even, some people don't even love themselves, right? They don't even want.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
how important is the healing process to come into that, nurturing, soft, more fluid part of yourself?
Yeah. I mean, healing is a huge part of it. We are not born with this knowledge. So it is in your path, in your journey as you heal that you become enlightened to these things. So healing is a huge part of being able to tap in because, a big part of the divine feminine is just having an open heart. A lot of us have been hurt, have been through things that have caused us a tremendous amount of trauma or pain and hurt. So a lot of times or sometimes people tend to close up when those things happen. They shut off
Right.
their heart. They live from a perspective of, I'm just going to exist in this world and not really be open to love or be open to giving love. So a lot of it is being able to tap into those traumas that you've been through, the situations that have quote unquote made you hard, and be able to realize that in essence you don't need to be that hard person. You don't need to tap into or live in that hard, energy all the time. It's okay to soften up. It's okay to love unconditionally. It's okay to be loved, to receive love unconditionally. That's a challenge for people. So definitely tapping into your healing and just embracing your journey, because that looks so different for everybody. So my journey is going to be completely different than yours, completely different from the next person. So it's definitely an individual journey and path that needs to be explored by the individual, when the time is right, in divine timing. Everything is always in divine timing.
Right. I think that's amazing that you mentioned that. And I think that's a valid question just because of I've seen so many women, And, not to judge, because I was that woman. And so, somehow I'm still that woman where, like I said, I'm in that hustle culture, in that striving, in that struggling, in that hardness. Now, wait, let me rewind, because I've become a lot more softer.
Yes.
Like before, even when I was a leader in ministry, I was so hard, Rebel. I mean, I was like, I had to be this person. I was like, and you would think that a leader in ministry, that you would have a level of grace, a level of softness. I did not have that. And I had to really do some inner work. Like I really had to face God and face myself and say, what was that version of me? Because I
Mm.
didn't like it. All I wanted was to ever be loved. I wanted to be loved. So how do you want to be loved, but you cannot be loved? And to me, I think
Mm.
that's important for us to, when we operate in our femininity, is to really go through that healing process, because I've seen some beautiful women, but when they speak, it's all bitter, it's angry, it's you can hear the trauma and the wounding within them. And again,
Right.
this isn't to judge anyone, but it just shows that there's some work that you need to do, that you should do, so that you're not constantly in that place of, anger or bitterness, but actually coming into the place of softness where people can come to you and, pour out on you, and you can pour out on them and nurture them. And, I've never been the type to be always on the women's side, because I believe there's a lot of toxic femininity, right? And that's another topic I want to talk to you about. That's another a panel discussion that we'll talk about. But um, men need that women, the woman, men need the women that are nurturing, the women that are, yes, strong. It doesn't mean you can't be strong, but also just have that softness so that they can come out and be vulnerable with you. How can you tie in the divine feminine into what I just stated?
I think that a lot of this conversation stems from, expectations of, how what a man needs, what a woman needs. It's not even about that.
Mm,
It's about self. It's about coming in alignment with self, balancing those energies so that you are open and in alignment with the things that are meant to manifest in your life. I think that we are taught to believe that we have to be a certain way in order to be loved, that we need to, do this and that to be loved. But in essence, the greatest love that we need to experience in each lifetime is self-love. Like that
mm,
is the essence of what we are meant to experience in this life. Well, I would say for myself
okay.
specifically. And so I think that a lot of times, due to cultural conditioning, what we see growing up, we see these princes that come and save the princess on, on a knight in shining armor on a horse is going to go and take you away into the sunset. That's beautiful. But in essence, you need to give that love to yourself first. That
Mm,
love needs to come and be given to yourself first. Then once those energies, the divine masculine and divine feminine energies are in alignment, then you are able to operate from a space of everything that is manifesting around my life is because I have come to truly love and align with myself. So it's,
mm,
a lot of times I think that, because we speak divine feminine and divine masculine, we assume that it's like a love relationship or something that has to do with love. For me, it truly is about self-love above everything. That's what it comes down to. When you love yourself enough to heal, when you love yourself enough to say no, when you love yourself enough to say yes, when you love yourself enough to receive love, that's when true your true life and true journey, true purpose starts to manifest, right? Because you're operating from a place of true balance in your life. So for me, that's what it comes down to. Is there's so much conditioning that we are
mm,
bombarded with on a daily basis, that isn't even, a lot of times it isn't even intentional. Like you mentioned, your mom was, she was a single mom, she had to work hard, she had to do this. Unfortunately, she had to probably operate mainly from her masculine energy. And that's fine. There are eras in our lives where we have to operate because that's just where we are. But when you start to become aligned with the healing and in touch with yourself and self-love, then you realize I don't need to operate strictly from this energy. I can operate from a place of love. I can do things, creative things, or things that are within me that are not necessarily out there hustling to also manifest the things around me that I want to see, the life that I want to live. So it's mainly about recognizing that we have been under a tremendous amount of conditioning from the moment that we're born, and realizing that all of those things need to be shed. You have to shed all of that stuff that doesn't align with your true self in order to be able to align with your true self.
Right.
So
I love that. I love that you stated that it's not about anyone else, it's about self.
it's
Because
about
that
self.
just shows that there's still some programming within my mind that needs to be corrected. And I'm so open to, what you just stated. I think that's amazing. Because a lot of times we do focus on other people. We focus
We
on
do.
what we need from, our counterpart or, our partners. But
Yes.
in reality, those things that we need all comes from within.
Absolutely. And it absolutely, in every since we're talking about relationships, every relationship is like a mirror, to you, to show you the things that you have to release or the things that you have to work on. So being in a relationship definitely, I feel like, accelerates or assists in the process of alignment, because you are shown a lot quicker, a lot faster, those things that are keeping you from being your true and honest self. So, and a lot of it is conditioning, unfortunately. My mom was also a very, she has a beautiful heart, big heart. Definitely, she can tap into her divine feminine energy, but she also has that hustle that,
Right.
my parents are immigrants that came from Colombia to the United States when I was 2 years old. They had to hustle. They had to hustle in order to be able to provide a life for us, have just basic necessities. The hustle was deep. So it's part of realizing that you don't have to always be living in that survival mode and that tough, like, let's go, let's hustle. That's not the only way that you can manifest things. Manifesting can come from a place of deep love for yourself, deep reverence for yourself, saying yes to the things that align with your soul, saying no to the things that don't. And that is when I feel that you are truly tapping into divine feminine energy, is when you are honoring yourself above everything.
Yes. Thank you so much, because you shed some light on some questions that I had and just some curiosities. Because so what I'm hearing is that when you're operating in this divine feminine, you're operating in both your femininity and your masculine. And you're saying, and I'm understanding, is that when you are in your divine masculine, when you're in your masculine, it's not necessarily bad, because it's there to kind of create your survival, right? But the goal is to live in both balance, in the divine masculine and in the divine feminine, for both genders, both men and women.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we need that masculine energy. We need that drive, that determination, that let's go, let's get this done, let's make things happen. Everybody, the whole world, the entire universe needs that energy. But we also need the nurturing, softer, intuitive, manifesting, magical energy that is divine feminine energy. And when they're in balance, it's effortless. It's effortless to really live in your highest purpose, to truly radiate the love and light that we are meant to radiate above everything as beings, as divine beings. So it's definitely about balancing those energies, because the masculine energy is beautiful too. I mean, we all know that masculine energy is absolutely capable of being nurturing, of being compassionate, of being empathetic. It's just, it takes that balance from the feminine in order to be able to do that, and vice versa. Sometimes the feminine, and this tends to be an issue for me, sometimes I'm too much in my feminine, I'm too much in my emotions. It's like, like this huge fire of emotions that I've had to really work on controlling, and I still have not mastered that, because I am definitely very tapped into my feminine energy, and that can also be detrimental because you have to have that balance in order to operate from a place of wholeness, if that makes sense. So it's a matter of just balancing.
That makes a lot of sense. And that was going to be my next question. How do you know when you're in too much of one energy? So for a female, obviously would be you're too emotional, you're not able to, there's no emotional intelligence, there's no control over your emotions. And right, would that be an indicator for a female?
Well, and it's for both. Again, these energies are not just present in female or male. So you could encounter a man, a masculine that is very much in tune with his emotions, can't seem to, focus on things and drive and make things happen. So he also could be very much so in his feminine energy and disconnected from the masculine, and vice versa. Like you mentioned, the women that we've seen in our life that are very connected to that masculine energy because they have to produce, they have to make things happen for a family. They have to disconnect, quote unquote, from that emotion and just go, 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 move, make things happen. So it can happen in either a male or a female, being an imbalance. But that's mainly what you'll see when there's an imbalance in the feminine, is a lot of just emotion, not being able to focus and drive and make things happen. So, and it's important to just recognize that so that you can be able to tap into the other energy that you're imbalanced of and balance it.
Okay, so how can you do that? Like I know you said go in, but what are some techniques or strategies that you've done yourself or that you can recommend for those who are looking to just get some balance in their life?
Yes, absolutely. So the main thing is just like, first and foremost, being honest with yourself. Like, who am I? Where am I? What have I been conditioned to believe that I have to be in order to do this or do that? So I think that going inward, first of all, really truly, taking accountability for who you are and where you want to be is definitely one of the biggest steps in aligning with that divine feminine energy. And then some of the other things are obviously meditation, healing, going through your healing journey and healing a lot of those traumas that really put us in a certain energy. There are things that happen to us in our life, in our childhood, throughout our existence, that, and not even just us, ancestral, that we've been carrying for generations, that we're bringing from the lineage of my great, 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 great grandmother and grandfather, So those things also play a big role in identifying where there's an imbalance. So it's being accountable for yourself, where you are, where you want to be. That's the first step. There has to be a form of awakening that has to happen to let you realize that this needs to be addressed. Aside from that, obviously, meditation, really tapping into that divine feminine, asking for the divine to align you with your highest purpose, with your divine feminine energy, with your intuition. Like, a big part of it is intuition, just being able to silence all the noises going on the outside, even of your partner, if you have a partner, and just go deep within yourself to really listen to your intuition. Who am I? What am I meant to do? Where do I want to be? What is my highest purpose? What is my greatest uh, soul purpose in this lifetime? So just being in tune with self is the first step to, I feel like, aligning with that energy. But definitely being out in nature, tapping into your creativity. Divine feminine energy is creativity. We are literally the womb. Like, we are literally the womb. So it's about tapping into your creativity and creating and being free and not being, controlled or constricted, just being able to flow. And when we create, that's when we are truly tapping into the greatest divine feminine energy. Because think about it, the entire universe is creation. The entire universe, the divine is creation. And like I said, we as divine feminines, as women, our womb is literally where other human beings come from. And that's the womb is also the sacral chakra, which is responsible for creativity and being able to create. So that's why it's so important. I'm also a Reiki master, so being in alignment with yourself has a lot to do with aligning your chakras, healing a lot of traumas that we hold that we don't know we hold in our chakras, the root chakra, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat. So being able to recognize which one of those energy centers needs healing is essential to being able to tap into those energies as well, to the divine feminine energy.
Okay, so speaking of creativity, Miss Poet, tell us about your divine feminine track. Don't give us too much information. I'm going to share it in just a few minutes so that they can get a snippet of what they're getting into, and then they can be able to purchase that. Tell us about the divine feminine. What led you to actually create this track?
So the divine feminine was born as like from me tapping into myself and needing affirmations, needing mantras to remind me that I am a divine feminine, and to remind myself, my soul, my heart, everything, that these are the things that I will and will not allow in my life, or need to align with, and need to remember, need to be reminded. So this track is very dynamic. It's just a litany of mantras that I wrote, and I paired up with Xavier the Second and Infinitus Records, who did a phenomenal job building the sounds, the music, the track itself. So we paired up. This piece is just literally one of my favorites right now. Like, I pop it in every morning before I go to bed, when I'm in the shower. Like, literally, this is the track that I listen to every day to get me going, to get me moving, and to remind me that I am a divine feminine, and these are the things that I need to live by, to abide by, to truly honor self.
Yes. Oh, I'm chilled out because I purchased the track, and I love it. I listen to it in the morning, I listen to it at night, and it really is a reminder. Like, this is who you are. Don't forget it. And just empowering you to honor your boundaries, honor yourself, honor your femininity, honor everything within you every day to remind you. And I love it. I love it. And I'm going to go ahead and put a snippet right now.
Thank you.
So that everyone can take a sneak peek of what it looks like. I'm not going to give you too much because obviously you need to purchase the track.
Correct. Yes. Go to infinitusrecords.com and download it. It's only $3. So, you know.
Exactly. Download it and remind yourself of who you are. So I'm going to play that for you now.
To be filled the same way that I pour. I make deep connections, not deep attachments. I am a magnet to that which elevates me. I allow myself to let go of energy that takes up space and no longer belongs to me. I am intentional with my time and energy.
Oh my God, it was so chilled out. So good.
Yes.
I learned so much. Thank you so much. This is amazing.
Thank you. This is amazing. I love having these conversations. I'm truly passionate about the divine feminine, as you know. So
and I like you keep putting me in my place. You're like, it's not just this. And I'm like, okay, I get it.
Wasn't like being rude, you know.
No, you're not.
Those are the common, the common conceptions that it's a man thing and a woman thing, but it's really not. It's about aligning both of those energies. Men are capable of being, like I said, being nurturers and being loving and empathetic and very, very, the best leaders, the best kings are the ones that are, yes, they're out there conquering and doing whatnot, but they do it from a place of love, and they're compassionate and empathetic, and like those are the qualities that truly make a difference. And that can only happen when both the masculine and the feminine energy are in alignment. So
right. And I see a lot of times where people are talking about the leadership right now for our country.
Yeah.
And so how does that play? Like, how does that take a role in that? So because I'm seeing a lot of like masculine, controlling. So if and when we are able to balance this divine masculine and this divine feminine, how would that change our world?
Oh my gosh. It would be night and day. We would be focused. If the world was a divine, feminine focused world, we would be living in a society where creativity, art, those things would be valued over everything else, being nurturing, being able to provide for everybody, community, wholeness. It would be night and day. And the interesting thing about it is that we're actually stepping into the age of Aquarius. Like all the crazy stuff that's been happening in the cosmos, that's not a coincidence. Yesterday, there was 7 planets that were aligned in the sky, and you could see 5 of them with the naked eye. This is the cosmos telling us that we're stepping into an era of, I'm getting goosebumps, of huge change. So we are actually headed into that direction. We are headed into that direction again, and it's going to be a huge shift. Will we live to see it? I don't know, but it excites me to know that I see the things that show that we are headed in that direction. So it's a better life for our kids, for their kids, for our lineage to come. So I'm excited. Listen, at the end of the day, we all have a footprint and a duty in this process. We all do. And the only way to do that is by living authentically, by being your true self, expressing your true nature. That is the only way that we are able to elevate the vibration of the planet, of the cosmos, of this existence, is by being true to self, shedding all of those things that we've been conditioned to believe that are true, that are not true, and aligning with your true self, your highest self. So honestly, if anybody is really trying to tap into that divine feminine energy, I have one mantra that I would tell you to ask every day in your practice, in your meditation practice, in your yoga practice, whatever. The mantra is, divine, align me with my highest self. That's it. When you start saying that every day, things are going to happen. Watch. You be ready, because things are going to happen.
That's amazing. I love it. You just speaking about the world changing when we accept this, it just gave me goosebumps all over my body, because and that's just confirmation that it's true. This is what we're stepping into. This is what we need to step into.
Yeah.
If we want to begin to see change, if we want to begin to see love and creativity and all these things that, we know that is capable in this world.
Absolutely.
It's when we start changing things within us, start changing our mindset.
We will go back to a civilization that is really ruled by the heart-centered, and really, operating from a place of love and vulnerability and just reciprocity and community. So it's really, I'm really excited about what's happening, for us. And there's no mistake, all of these people that are awakening, even yourself with your own awakening, this is no mistake. It requires a massive awakening to get the planet, the vibration of the planet, to where it needs to be, so that we are operating from a place of just love, a place that is heart-centered versus conquering and just all of those things that are really cause chaos and war, because when you're so focused on just trying to conquer and to rule you're not thinking about the things that are necessary to be in connection with the rest of us. You're dividing, you're separating. So it's doing the opposite of what is meant to be, which is community, bringing together people together, just civilization together, to a place where we exist and operate from a place of love.
Thank you so much, Rebel. This has been truly a blessing. I've learned so much. And just tell our listeners, how can we find you? Where can we, follow you? What do you have coming up? Any projects that you want to give us a snippet on?
For sure. Well, first of all, thank you again for having me. This was awesome. Great conversation. I love that we are able to speak our truth and provide light, be a light source for so many people that are in need of that. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Truly heartfelt, and means a lot to me. But aside from that, you can follow me on social media, Rebel Poet. Aside from that, then I do have 2 tracks right now that I am really would love for anyone to check out. It's Divine Feminine, which is the one that Giovanna played earlier. And it's also Be Still, which is also a meditative track that I worked in collaboration with in Infinitus Records and Xavier II. That one is a more meditative track that was born from a place of me needing stillness, and needing to connect with inner stillness. And even though it's kind of a play on words, because even though the universe was telling me to be still, I was being still. So that's where that comes from, if that makes sense. But I do, like I said, I am a Reiki master as well. So I am getting ready to kick off my Reiki business. So I will be posting my website very soon. It's not just fully complete yet, but if you're in need of Reiki services, definitely hit me up. And let's see, there was one thing that I can't think of right now. What was it? Oh, March 22nd, there is going to be an event called Open Heart in the Park. And I will be doing a feature there that's going to involve Reiki and poetry. So it is a free event. So definitely, keep an eye on social medias for that. And come, just get some Reiki, get some healing, come and be around like-minded individuals who love art, creativity, love, and healing, and just all the beautiful things that embody that divine feminine energy. So
Yes. Thank you so much, Rebel. It's truly been a blessing. I would love to have you back on if you're willing.
For sure. Anytime. More than willing.
Right. Awesome.
And you and I got to work together, right?
Yes.
We got some things to do.
Yes.
So this isn't the end of this. This is just round 2.
Right. All right, Rebel. Thank you so much. I will talk to you soon and have a great day. Thank you so much for blessing our listeners. And I'm sure that you will get a lot of followings after this one.
Much love. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.